Today, Wi-Fi made in Germany by Lancom Systems. Lancom is Germany's second largest Wi-Fi vendor. We'll ask them about their secret to success. Join me just after this message. All right, everybody, welcome back. My name is Claus Hetting, and of course, this is the show that brings you all the stories and not least all the great people from across the Wi-Fi industry. And today I'm fired up because in this and several of the coming episodes, we're going to be zooming in on Wi-Fi companies that are headquartered and are working mostly right here in Europe. Now, we know, of course, that there's a ton of great Wi-Fi coming out of the Silicon Valley, but I can tell you there are some great Wi-Fi companies here in Europe. And there's some good ones that you really need to get to know. So my guest today, and we're going to get to him in just a moment, is Jan Buis of Lancom Systems. Jan is business development manager for Lancom, and Lancom has risen to the number 2 position among Wi-Fi vendors in Germany. Quite an accomplishment, and Germany is, by the way, Europe's biggest market, not just for Wi-Fi, but I guess for everything. So we're going to speak to Jan in just a moment. Now, before we do that, I want to make sure that you know that we're taking Wi-Fi Now, the expo and conference, to the great city of London, UK, this October 25 to 27. Not only that, but we'll also have the Wi-Fi Now award show happening in London at that time. So if you are an outstanding Wi-Fi technology company or service provider, and I know a lot of you out there watching are, then I need you to go and check out the Wi-Fi Now Awards on our website. We have all of 5 categories that you can enter, and I strongly suggest that you do that. It's going to be a lot of fun and a chance for you to get all the industry-wide recognition that your product and your company deserves. Now, check out our event program and find out all about the awards at wifinow.international. And if you have any questions, drop me a line at klaus@wifinowevents.com. I'm always extremely happy to hear from our viewers out there. So that's it for my shameless self-promotion this week. And for now I'd like to introduce our guest. So Jan Buis of Lancom Systems, welcome to Wi-Fi Now TV. I'm delighted to see you.
Thank you, Klaus. Welcome also back to be there.
All right, very good. Jan, for our viewers who are not familiar with Lancom, can you give us the quick introduction to the company?
Yeah, I will do so. More welcome to do so. In particular, I assume that several Wi-Fi players in the world never have heard about Lancom Systems. And it's a good thing to have us introduced as a very European dedicated player. So who are we? We are already 14 years young, working on a complete portfolio of vendor, hardware and software, having wireless WAN access, having WAN access, having switches, having access points. So the whole complete portfolio all the way. As already said, European based, very driven by being made in Germany, social minded and partner oriented, the way we do business over here in Europe.
Right, and you have climbed to the number 2 spot as a Wi-Fi vendor in Germany, which, by the way, of course, as I said before, is a huge market, and that is a big accomplishment. What would you say is the differentiating factor, your secret sauce, if you will?
There's always a good question. What is the secret sauce? And nobody knows exactly what the secret sauce can be. So one thing I think what we have proud to be in the past is that we built on a reputation, and the reputation always came true. So the whole direction we set our products is based on our security, reliability, and future-proof. And mentioning future-proof already is the fact that if you buy a Lancom device, your firmware upgrade for the rest of life is free of charge. That gives us already a differentiator on who we are. And with doing so, we understand quite well how the European market and how our European customers work and like to have these kinds of solutions.
Right, exactly. And there's a couple of other things I want to talk to you about, because when we did chat before, you had a couple of good points that I also like you to highlight here about the importance of Wi-Fi not being an island. I think that's the way you put it, in the sense that when you have AC access points, for example, and especially now with Wave 2 and I'm assuming now that you guys support all of that, since you brought that up, that it's also important to get the wired part of the network, to look at the solution, get that right, and look at the solution end to end. Do you want to comment on that, Jan?
Oh yeah. What you see by now is something what happens already before in the wireless LAN world, in the Wi-Fi world. At the moment we were introducing LFNN as the complete community. We already faced the fact that most of the switches are still fast Ethernet. So that's nice, you have a very nice speed coming up, and then you have your own internal LAN system not able to deal with it. So if you look to the upcoming speed levels, and even when everybody upgraded to themselves as a gigabit Ethernet switch, what are you going to do with the bandwidth? So you try to satisfy your customers or your users with a very nice, high fancy access point, and then you still your internal LAN cannot able to deal with all the packages. And then even more important, what about your WAN access? If you just have a simple, straightforward ADSL, or you're still struggling with SDSL other capabilities, great access point network, don't know about your access. So in the end, what we see is Wi-Fi isn't an island. It is part of the total solution. And now we are working and stepping into the whole virtualization world. It even becomes much more important that the access point works together with the switches, works together with the access routers, and make sure that everything is set properly based on what the users wants to have.
Mm-hmm. So the solution to that is essentially to have high capacity throughout the network, right? And that's what you're providing.
That's what we're providing as a Lancom system. So that's the reason why we do those end-to-end provisioning. That's the reason why we deliver all those components in between. Because we don't believe in a single solution as an access point. We believe in the total solution, including all the management capabilities and the monitoring capabilities. It's a total package. Without a total package, you always struggle and find out who is to blame within your network. Don't do it, make it a total story.
Yeah, it's a good point. So can you perhaps share with us a case story or a success story perhaps that, that maybe you have worked on yourself that illustrates some of these strengths that you're advocating here?
Now, one of the current success stories we published also on our website is related to the Luxembourg government, and particularly education. And education is a bandwidth consuming environment. More and more bandwidth is needed, even in mobile environment. That brought in a situation that the government itself said, we need to have a network in every education, every school, which is able to support the bandwidth, which has the right access point, which has the right switches, has the right WAN access, and go beyond. It even went further out that the government themselves said, that's a pretty nice solution. We bring it in our own offices. And on top of that, and that's one of the ways we are starting introducing ourselves in the IoT world, we are able to deal with electronic kind of shelf labels in which you can do your meeting room information. Originally thought for the retail world of having then pricing, electronic pricing, but you can go much further out with these kinds of technologies.
Right, so what would you say is a typical Lancom Systems customer? Are you also working with carriers, for example, or in retail? And obviously this is a somewhat enterprise, certainly government, right?
Originally, we as Lancom started in the SMB world. We are very focused on our channel, so we are channel driven. And by that, we have, for example, we have 7,000 resellers, majority in Germany. And they are doing little bit network everywhere in the place where you can find it in villages and other places in cities. By now, as Lancom, we are going much higher and go into the carriers, and we go into the system integrators, and we go into large networks. So it's a kind of organic path which fits perfectly to who we are. We are profitable since day one. We used our own profit to keep on growing, keep on growing, and keep on growing. That's Lancom.
Yes. So let me ask you about your view on some of these technologies that are, have been around for a while, and we're still kind of waiting for them to break through. Hotspot 2.0 is one of them, and I know you have actually at Lancom been a huge supporter, and that you support the Hotspot 2.0 standard in your systems and so on. How do you see that evolving?
It all depends a little bit on where are you on the world. So I'm pretty sure if you're walking around in Korea, you understand perfectly well what Hotspot 2.0 can do. If you walk around in Europe, it's a little bit at discussion. Having that said, currently we're actually working on a tender where we are able to prove by using Hotspot 2.0 that you can be PCI compliant. So you can have quite high credit card payment has to be very high secured. So how can you do it? And one way of doing so is also working together with Hotspot 2.0. It never came to that level as we were hoping for. But we do see a lot of capabilities coming up by now in which Hotspot 2.0 is very well positioned.
So in that case, it's not actually so much the roaming capability, it's more the security capability that's driving it, perhaps?
Yeah, at least in this case it happened in that way. The roaming capabilities, and you know it yourself because you're writing all about it, what is the LTE community going to do with it? We as some Wi-Fi communities say, why not working together? The technology is there, we can do the data offloading, there's quite a lot of Wi-Fi access points. Please work together instead of trying to be in the same spectrum.
Absolutely, I totally agree. So how do you see the future of, what is the future of the Wi-Fi industry look from Lancom's point of view? I think you guys are doing really, really well and there's a lot of growth to be had. How do you see it?
Actually, that's a good question because nobody knows where the technology is going to. But honestly, when I started to join the Wi-Fi technology almost 15, 17 years ago, we were always searching for what's going to happen, what's not going to happen. It had a slow take. And then there came the tablets. And the tablets took it over. And it took it so far over that you have to have Wi-Fi in every corner of the world. And then you get the apps, and then you get the usage, the high amount of data. And I think everybody agrees on the fact that there will be much more. And if then in the future other devices like IoT or whatever is coming by, there's more to come that needs to be connected. Can the LTE, can the 5G do it? Partly. That means we have to work together. There is a future of Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi won't die because there's too much elements going on now. Will this happen before I go in pension? I don't know. I still have 20 years to go. And I can just not predict what will happen in 20 years, but I'm pretty sure that most of it will be Wi-Fi.
Well, I think I agree with you on that. I think that a lot of the heavy lifting will be still done also well into the future by Wi-Fi networks like the ones that you guys supply and so on. So give us your view on IoT. I know this is a very wide open question. It's sometimes a very difficult one because it's a multifaceted space, the IoT space, but I know you have a view on it. We discussed it a little bit a while ago.
I think the most important part, and that's for everybody, that's for the user and that's for us as a vendor and probably you guys as an analyst, what is the application? What are going to drive the IoT? And is it things? Is it everything? Is it sensor? Is it whatever the terminology it is? The only way we have at this moment is envision you have low frequency IoT, which is for example LoRa, which is the needed 1 gigahertz, and then you have the high frequency IoT, and they already have the different applications. Mm-hmm. A hardware vendor like ourselves, in general, if this is the case, we are the gateway. We are those guys who's able to speak with a sensor or whatever, drive it back to which application on the background. So, do you have clients
that come to you and say we want to connect all these things to the Lancom system?
Actually, one of this example I just have given you is that ESLs.
Right.
It isn't kind of IoT. We use another type of radio within our own access points to deal with those prices. And that was on demand. So one of our large retail customers came to us and said, hey, great access points. We like your access points. But this technology is also 2.5 gigahertz, 2.4 gigahertz. How are we going to deal with it? We said, let's see if we can get it together in one access point.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, Jan, it's great to have you here, and I want to thank you for your insights. By the way, I should also say, Jan, that you are going to be speaking at Wi-Fi Now, the conference in London, and we're delighted that you're coming, of course, and we want to hear a lot more from you and from what Lancom is doing, and we want to spread the word because I think I'm very happy that we have Wi-Fi here in Europe as well, and it's not just in America. So, any final comments from you? Anything you want to share?
Now I'm also looking forward to London. I'm looking forward to be there and to give the vision we have on the way the network capabilities work and the components we use. And again, Wi-Fi isn't an island.
Absolutely. Jan Buis, thank you so much for coming. Yeah, and I hope I'm actually pronouncing your name correctly. I'm never totally sure.
Let's put it this way. The original Dutch are the only ones who are able to pronounce it. So I can live with everything from whatever flavor needed.
Okay. Okay, good. I have some difficulty with Dutch, I have to say, but thank you. And thank you for your patience with my bad pronunciation. And please come back and see us again. And we'll see you in London. Thank you so much, Jan.
Okay. Thank you, Klaus.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, everybody, that's it for today's show. Next week, I will be interviewing another great Wi-Fi company, and that's Encapto. So come back and join us then. And don't forget to go, of course, to Wi-Fi Now International to check out our conference program. And as usual, I'm delightful to be here and your host for this program. Come back and see us. See you at our next show.
Wi-Fi Now is a production of RCR TV News. To suggest a show topic or to learn more about Wi-Fi Now events, you can reach Claus Hetting at klaus@hettingconsulting.com. To find out more about Wi-Fi Now and all things wireless, visit rcrwireless.com.